Welcome. We're going to go ahead and probably go to questions really quick. Just want to highlight a couple of things that I was speaking of the school board election. I think that's a huge accountability measure moving forward, and the trigger bill on Roe v. Wade, if that's overturned, reinstating the prohibition on abortion in Oklahoma, a big deal. Productive week. Obviously, there were a lot of bills on deadline week, and some didn't get heard. Many did, and I think it's good to have a little break here. It gets a little emotional toward the end of deadline week, but I'll open it up to any questions people may have. And I can
read the questions from Sean?
I can kind of see it. Yeah, go ahead and read it just so.
He's got two questions. You may want to do the second one first. What are the plans for next week? I think they announced it on the floor, but you can reiterate that for them in a second. Any reaction to Governor Stitt's removing the mask mandate from government buildings? What are the Senate's plans?
Okay. Yeah, so next week we plan on the Senate side being here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Bills will be assigned, some over the weekend and on Friday, to committees. So we'll have some committee work in the transition to receiving House bills and hearing those. But we will not be in on Thursday currently. That's the plan. And then on the governor's removing the mask mandate, yet as far as the Senate goes, that executive order and any data that backs up that executive order and the decision, but executive orders from the governor, while they have bearing over all other state agencies within the executive branch, the legislative branch, it doesn't have bearing on. So we'll look at it independently and use the information contained within to make the best decision for the Senate.
Barbara has a question. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes. My question is that my understanding the House is taking up the two tax that bills, income tax and corporate income tax phase out. Are those going to get heard on the Senate floor?
We won't prejudge that. You know, when you look at tax policy, you have to look at it comprehensively, globally, and make sure that we're in a good financial position. The Senate passed in an overwhelming fashion a car sales tax. During the height of right before the teacher walkout side, we did the 1.25% on car sales, where we removed that exemption partially. We reinstated that, and so we need to look at all of that in the global scheme and see if it makes the financial sense for the state.
Right. Well, I was trying to write down what you said. That's the right one? I know there was well, you don't want to chat about things that you haven't received yet from the House. Where are we on the executive nomination process? Is that looking a little different this year, considering the COVID restrictions and things like that? Are you having your committees meet with these people via Zoom? How's that looking? I've got questions from people, and I just don't know what to tell them.
It's going to be a hybrid. There will be some in-person meetings. We'll still afford people the opportunity to present remotely the executive noms. But that's really a committee-by-committee decision. The committee chairs we've empowered to make a lot of those decisions. But we will make sure that people's health is taken into consideration. I know a lot of people seem concerned that we haven't heard any except Trent Smith to the school board. We don't anticipate problems with the executive nominations. I've been very upfront since I've become pro tem, since I've become a legislator, but especially as pro tem on those. If there's going to be an issue, I've communicated that early on, and I don't foresee noms. That's part of the question as well.
I know there were, I think, a couple stories that came out, and they quoted you talking about the policing situation. You're a resident of Oklahoma City. The district attorney filed charges again yesterday. Just wanted, after you read those stories, after you've seen more of what's going on in the recent police shootings in Oklahoma City, do do you think you might have any sort of, legislation come out late this year, or is that really something you would look next year?
More than likely it'd be next year. I want to make sure that whatever we do, it's methodical and not knee-jerk. And the environment is, it's so divisive right now. I think police reform is an extremely important topic that I continue to want to pursue, but I want to make sure that we have a chance of being successful, and also I want to make sure that it's well thought out and not just slapped together.
What was your reaction to the, you may have read some of my coverage, the Board of Regents kind of announced some of their big things they've been talking about. They're moving their fundraising operation entirely under the foundation. Your judiciary chairwoman made some comments. And also doing this merger on the fully integrated academic health center under the OU Health brand. Both of those endeavors are going to take some state employees to private employee status, or may involve some very complicated reimbursements between private institutions and state institutions. Has that been discussed heavily with you? Is that a good thing to lower the need for, lower the burden on the state, or what, do you have any concerns about any of that? I know there's the sales tax issue that's also going through with OUHSC. So what are your thoughts on the things that the state flagship university and your alma mater are doing?
The University of Oklahoma is quite strong, and I'm proud to be an alma mater, that to be my alma mater. Those are pretty intricate questions you just asked, and I don't know if I'm up to speed enough on all of it to be able to give you a real educated position on it. I'm aware of everything you talked about, but I'm not an expert on anything you just talked about. The foundation moving over, your article also talked about the open records issue and some lawsuits. OSU has a very similar setup that OU is planning on doing. So I think that's probably wise, but I'm not an expert in that area. As far as integrating the health under the OU brand, it seems like a solid plan from I'm not a casual observer, but from what I know thus far. I've been supportive of the tax issue at OU Health, but I'm also cognizant of the issues that Oklahoma City brings up and sensitive to those. So I think that's something that we ought to continue the dialogue as these things progress, because I need to become more informed on all the intricacies involved in each one of those.
Barbara had a follow-up. Go ahead, Barbara.
Car bill reducing or basically phasing out minimum exemption 1.25. The price tag on that is $148 million. Are you at all concerned that that's going to have some sort of impact on your ability to pay for the Medicaid expansion?
Barbara, I heard the last part of your question. I did not hear the first part of your question. Could you repeat that?
Okay, sorry about that. On the car bill, eliminating 1.25%, are you at all concerned, it's got a price tag of $148 million, are you at all concerned that by doing that might hurt efforts to expand Medicaid?
No. I believe that the voters passed Medicaid expansion. There's an obligation to find that $164 million. Because of prudent decisions in recent years, we're in a position to be able to make that decision and keep a promise that we made when we first instituted the rollback of 1.25% of the exemption. We talked about that being temporary at the time, and we need to keep that commitment. It doesn't concern me at all about its impact on the Medicaid expansion or paying for the Medicaid expansion.
Anything else, Barbara? I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.